Hi everybody, we are carrying on our client spotlight with the Pilates Hut in Banchory. Today I have with me Simon Richards. Simon, how are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Sophia. I'm doing really well. Thank you very much.
Good, lovely. Now, I know that you go to the Pilates Hut and I know the reasons why you started joining, but maybe just introduce yourself to everyone today. Who are you? Where are you? And why did you decide to take up Pilates?
I'm a 69-year-old retired engineer, worked in the oil industry all of my career and retired here to beautiful sunny Fuchside about 7 years ago. So fully retired and enjoying my free time doing the things that I enjoy, which are sports. So I cycle a lot. In the winter, I try and get out on the snowboard. And I also have a sort of bit of a petrol head and enjoy playing with cars. So those are the things I sort of focus on. I took up Pilates 2 or 3 years ago, really following my wife's lead. She joined the Pilates Hut and started to tell me about it and saying that perhaps it was something I should do. And so I did, and I've been there ever since, and I'm an ardent follower of the Pilates thing. I really enjoy it.
So tell everybody what we were discussing earlier, which was why you didn't join a gym, why you do Pilates, and describe the process of taking Pilates and then the penny dropping, going, yeah, this works for me.
I never liked the idea of the gym. I enjoyed doing sports, but sort of going and pushing weights just never really did it for me. And so I was never a gym member. Sarah started talking about what she was doing at Pilates and about the flexibility and balance. And I thought, yeah, those are probably things that I could do with improving. And so I said, well, let's give it a go. And to be honest, at first, it was a little intimidating. I think, that's true of starting anything new, whether it be skiing or golf, or you go into a new environment, you're not quite sure how it works. You don't know whether you've got the right kit. You don't know whether you're doing the right things. So it is a little bit intimidating going into those new environments. But anyway, I went in and I stuck with it because I was intent on trying to get the best out of it. And I think Pilates is one of those things that you don't quite understand what it's doing for you until you've been going for a bit of time. And I would say, 3 months.
But sorry, I interrupted you now.
I would say, 3 months, if you went a couple of times a week for 3 months, you start to get the hang of it and start to feel the benefits of what it's doing for you. Certainly signing up for a class a week for a month, I don't think you'd come out of that with a real good feel of what the benefits were. So it is something you need to commit to, I think, at the outset, and then give it a real good go. But the benefits then, you start to feel better about yourself. You can start to feel that you're engaging more muscle groups and your flexibility is improving. And then I saw later on, perhaps after a year, as I started seeing the impact on my other activities, on particularly my biking and my snowboarding, just how much those things had changed as a consequence of being more flexible, stronger in certain areas, and more balanced.
So we talked about how we referred back to your snowboarding and pre-Pilates snowboarding versus post-Pilates snowboarding. Just describe that scenario that we talked about.
Well, as every skier knows, snowboarders are a pain in the neck, because for every lift, you have to take 1 foot out of a binding, unless you're exceptionally good and talented. But typically you take 1 foot out of a binding to get on a toe or a chair. And once you get to the top, that binding has to be reconnected before you can go down the slope. And so there's a delay at bottom and top as you clip in and out. And pre-Pilates, at the top, the ritual was go find a seat, sit down, connect up that binding, and off we go, which all took a little bit of time. So after a bit of Pilates, I found that I could just find a little flat spot dig the board in a bit, and then using my improved balance and flexibility, bend over, connect up, and off we went. So much slicker, much faster, much easier, and you don't end up with a wet bum as well. So benefits all round.
all round. And then we talked about mountain biking, because you do both. You do road and you do mountain biking. So explain to people how, particularly with mountain biking, Pilates has helped.
I think as a cyclist, you typically think that you're going to end up with strong legs, which you do. But in mountain biking particularly, you need also upper body strength and balance and flexibility to drive the bike down the hill. It's not a question of just sitting back and letting the bike take you. You need to drive the bike. And I certainly found that with Pilates input, my flexibility and balance improvements allowed me to get the bike down the hill more convincingly and in a smoother way, and probably faster, which is not the aim at my time of life, but but
it gets the heart going, gets the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
So Pilates, if you stick with it, and I know that with golf and all the top golfers, all the world's top golfers apparently take Pilates because it lengthens their drive and it gives them more core body strength. So that's fantastic, which leads us on to when you're at the Pilates Hut, and I know you take the monthly membership, which are your favorite classes, or do you have a favorite class?
To be honest, I don't have a favorite class. Possibly the reformer, but what I really like is the variety. And I like doing mat exercise. I like doing small equipment work. I like doing big equipment work. Now, the big equipment, the reformer, is probably my favorite, but it's the mix that I think really does it for me. And actually, as part of that mix, seeing two different teachers also is, they have slightly different approaches, and that adds to the value of the mix, I think. Yeah,
it spices it up a bit and gives different tones to the overall exercise that you're doing. So for everyone that doesn't know, for everyone who doesn't have a clue about what the reformer is, and let's just say right from the beginning, it is only for those people that have taken Pilates before. Tell us about the reformer and why you particularly like it.
Yeah, you're right. You need to understand the basics before getting on a reformer, because the reformer sort of amplifies the exercises in a certain way. So it allows you to do a lot of the basic exercises, but in a way that becomes slightly amplified, but also focused. And so the reformer makes it much more difficult to fudge exercises. It sort of is much more specific and focuses on particular muscle groups. And yeah, you can feel sort of immediate benefit in a very specific area of the body as you do exercises on the reformer. Yeah. Some refer to the big equipment as the torture chamber.
Yes.
Some of the machines do look a little bit like instruments of torture, but they're far from it, and they're very beneficial. And yeah,
they do good.
Yeah.
The next question that we briefly talked about was offering up some advice for men, and how beneficial is it for men? Why do you go to Pilates?
Well, I think in my particular case, at my time of life, it's to allow me to continue to do the things that I really enjoy, which are cycling and snowboarding, into my 70s. I want to be able to keep doing those things. I do them by myself. I do them with my kids. I'd hope to be able to do them with my grandkids. And I think Pilates, as part of that, keeps my overall body working much better to allow me to do those things. So for men, I would say there is, I think, a perception that Pilates is something for the ladies, and it isn't a very manly, masculine thing to do. I think the reality is quite the opposite. You can make Pilates as hard as you want to, and I think if you've got any doubts about that, book in for a private class with Michelle or Rebecca, and they'll very quickly show you there are parts of your body that are very inadequate, and they can help you bring them up to scratch. But the start is tricky, like most things. Perhaps a private class or two just to get you off the ground might help. And perhaps, you know, a sex-specific class, as in male or female, might help. It can be intimidating going into a mixed class from the outset as a rank beginner.
Yes, I think that's you know, a good statement there. We also talked about, you know, when you say go on holiday and you're obviously not joining in on your weekly classes, do you find that you go back to Pilates and everything is fine? Is it something is Pilates something you can go, I'll do it for 2 weeks and then I'll maybe miss a month? Or is it something that you get the benefits on the more you do it?
I think particularly as you get older, keeping things going is really important. The moment you drop something for a couple of weeks, you feel the effects of that, and it gets more and more difficult to catch up. So you know, keeping it going, being a regular, going twice a week. I can feel we go, and our kids live over. 3 of our kids live overseas, and so we have extended periods where we're not going to Pilates, doing other things, but not necessarily. And the impact of that is very clear the moment you get back into Pilates class. Doing some of those exercises is tough again. It's really tough. So keep it going for sure.
Keep it going. So let's wrap up, and thank you so much for spending the time with us today. Kind words for Michelle and Rebecca, because they've been through it. I mean, COVID cannot have been easy for them. What are they like as instructors? How do they make their Pilates classes a little bit different from everyone else's?
I mean, over the last 2 years, they've been absolutely brilliant, making it possible to keep going, whether it be in the class, whether it be via Zoom. They've been superb, and they, you know, cheerful throughout. They're always cheerful, always a laugh and a joke. So they're good at what they do. They're really enthusiastic about what they do, and that shines through in every class. So well done to them both. And gosh, for personally speaking, I just hope they keep it going, because I need it.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Simon, thank you so much for joining us today.
That's a pleasure.